This video is going to be on circular sock machine ribber confidence. I'm going to go over some very simple ideas and how to use your ribber, how to do a basic selvage edge with a ribber. For the demonstration, I'm going to be using a Legare. An auto knitter is slightly different, and a gear heart. You'll have to apply what you find here to how your machine works. First, we're going to start with all the needles in the machine, as if you just finished a sock and you just finished the toe, so all the needles are in the machine. This is your dial adjuster lever. It's going to be screwed into your machine, and there is a dial adjuster screw on the bottom of your machine, and that adjusts the dial forward and aft for your ribber dial. Before we get started, we need to know what needles we have to pull out that associate themselves with the ribber. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the ribber, we're going to take this stop, and we're going to apply it to the back side of this lever. Placing it into the machine, and you're going to spin it until it hits and push it down. Alright, now I'm going to hold this with my finger towards me, so it's going to be in a I'm rotating the dial in a counterclockwise direction. And now I'm going to take the lever and adjust the ribber, and it doesn't move very much, but does move a little bit. And what you're trying to do is get the adjustment so that the slots that the needles are in for the ribber line up as close as you can to a cylinder needle. Alright, and once you get to a point where you think that it's close and it works, then what you want to do is take any one of the needles that line up with a ribber needle slot and pull it up. And that's to give you a visual clue of what needle you want to take out. This comes out, and we're going to remove needles. Now I have just completed removing every other needle, starting with the one that I indicated when I put in the rubber dial. So what you should have left is an empty slot that goes with your where your rubber needle will go. Now that I have every other needle in the machine, I'm going to cast on. You can use any type of cast on that you want, and cast on in waste yarn so that I can prepare my ribber for the to start ribbing. Now I've completed casting on. I'm going to put in the ribber. And remember, my ribber stop has to hit against the lever. So I'm going to put this in. And spin this around. You see now it's hitting. Push it down. It's still hitting. That's great. I'm going to rotate the tappet plate so that this screw hits against the pin. The screw right here has to hit against this pin, and that's what pushes the ribber around. Once the ribber's in the machine, we now start putting in the rubber needles. We're going to just start, in a clear space. Make sure that the needle is open before you put it in, or after it's in but before it's knitted. If your needle is closed, you're going to drop stitches for that particular needle. I now have about half of the rubber needles in, and I haven't started cranking. What I need to do right now is crank ahead enough so I can put the needles in the rest of the slots. But because of the web of cast on that we already made, the rubber's going to have a little bit of a bounce. So I found it's best for the first couple needles to hold the rubber. If I don't hold it, it will bounce back, and then you'll have needles going where the cylinder needles are, and that's not going to be very useful. So I'm going to hold the rubber in counterclockwise direction and just slowly knit. Now, as we come around, you can see that the rubber needles come out, it catches the yarn, and then starts to knit. Alright, now I have the rest of the needles freed up. I'm going to finish putting those in. I have now finished putting in all the rubber needles, and about a third of them have knitted. I'll go around and you're going to see what's happening. This very first row of knitting, the rubber needle will come out and catch a thread of yarn. I didn't have to put that thread of yarn onto the rubber needle, it did it all on its own. This second round of knitting will actually create a stitch, and everything's working. This is the teller. We're gonna put in regular yarn. Cut my crochet cotton. Take that off. We're gonna feed in the new yarn. Alright, got the new yarn in there. I have, 2.5 inches hanging on this side, a little bit on this side, and we're going to take ahead, hold that down just a little bit. I'm just going ahead. Alright, now the machine's out of the way. Sometimes I'll do this, sometimes I won't. It does make cleaning it up easier. I'll take a hook, I'll feed it up underneath, catch this end, and just get it out of my way. And you want to do that with the sock yarn. You can just leave this here, it won't bother you. This is your selvage edge. So we're going one round of ribbing. I'm going to put my ribber out of work, however you do that for your machine. I'm going to do 2 rounds with the ribber out of work. This is round 1, 2, stop, ribber in work. Now if it doesn't feel like that one didn't feel like it went in all the way, I ticked it forward just a little bit and pushed it into that slot. And your ribber starts working. Drop this ribbing off the machine and show you how it looks. Cut the sock yarn, hold everything underneath, and let's see how it came out. Alright.